Right.
Let's
Well
move
said.
on to our updated power rankings as we head into week 8 in the SEC. These are the top 5 teams that Darren and I have come up with. There's a little bit of difference in our lists, starting with the top spot. Darren, I've got Alabama, a big win in Missouri. Missouri was looking at that game thinking this is going to be one of the biggest wins ever at
Yeah,
this stadium if we can beat Alabama. And they
absolutely.
gave it a shot, but in the end, Alabama was just too much. You've
Yeah,
got as your number one though, you've got the Aggies from A&M who are continuing. They put down a pesky Florida Gators team.
that's right. Yeah, it started out looking like it was going to be a little bit of a shootout, but they did what they needed to do. And last week one of my reactions to the week is when you look at Alabama and you look at Georgia, they are who we thought they were. They are who we thought they'd be. And Alabama did it again this week. Here we are. We're still winning, but to me, for my purposes in making this our power ranking or my power ranking, I, if at this point in the season you're still undefeated, I got to give that some credence. And so to me, that's what puts A&M at 1 and Ole Miss at 2. But also, regardless of the crazy thing is that Florida State loss just continues to look worse and worse. It didn't look like that bad of a loss that first week, but it just keeps looking worse and worse. But no matter how bad it seems to decline, the way they look afterwards seems to be, it's really kind of funny how those two things are opposing one another. So, in spite of how bad that Florida State loss looks, man, Alabama just keeps it. Ty Simpson, hello. I mean, that dude is playing some ball right now from every angle. And you mentioned Missouri. I had to keep them at number 5. Yes, they lost at home, but it was a hard fought game. And I'm sure some things will happen over the next couple of weeks or even the next week that will shake them further down in that power ranking of the SEC for me. But I couldn't just totally just throw them out when they fought as hard as they did and played Alabama as tough as they did, because it was a good game. They really played hard and didn't capitalize on some of the opportunities they had. There were opportunities. If Missouri would have taken care of the ball, done a couple of things differently, there were opportunities to win that game.
Yeah. Yeah, there definitely were. My number 5, I've got the Georgia Bulldogs. Despite the controversy with the win at Auburn,
Yeah,
Georgia is they
absolutely.
pulled out a win in a tough place to play, regardless of Auburn's record. They've got some big games coming up, and so
Yeah,
they may not stay in the top 5. But right now, I've got them at my number 5. You've got them at number 4.
yeah. I think they're that strong of a team. Honestly, I think they're right there neck and neck with Alabama. But you got to give Alabama the edge, with that win. So I can't put them above Alabama at this point. But yeah, I just until Kirby Smart and this Georgia team does something to prove me wrong, I got to keep them right there in that top 3-ish range, because they're always going to come up strong. Or like I said, until they prove us wrong, it seems that they
Mhm.
always come out and finish strong. So
Yeah. Yeah, they do. My number 4 is Tennessee. I was impressed by the win against Arkansas. Yes, it was in Knoxville. Arkansas, yes, the week before had been blown out by Notre Dame, which uh, sealed Sam Pittman's fate as head coach.
mhm,
Let's not overlook the fact that Bobby Petrino desperately wants that head coaching position.
absolutely,
He threw everything at Tennessee,
yeah,
everything that he could think of to try to pull out a win to make his case of why he should be the choice for the coach. And I don't think I know I'm getting off the I'm focusing more on Arkansas here than Tennessee. I really don't think that would be the best choice for Arkansas.
no,
I talked to someone this week And they're like, well, what about, isn't it like the Rich Rodriguez situation at West Virginia? I'm like, no, it's not. It's apples to
No.
oranges.
Yeah.
Rodriguez
Oh,
is from West Virginia.
yeah.
Yes, there was controversy when he left, but not near. There was not a big scandal like there
No.
was when Petrino left Arkansas, and he broke their hearts because he had them. And they were
Yeah.
winning. They were a top 10 program. They were cruising. Uh, so I was impressed that Josh Heupel had his team ready for Arkansas, and is a 3-point win, but it was a tough win,
Yeah.
and I think it gave us a glimpse of the character of this Tennessee Volunteers team, which is going to be put to the test even greater fashion this week when they travel
Oh, yeah.
down to Tuscaloosa. So they're my number 4. Uh, I've got A&M at 3. I really debated, Darren, about putting them higher because of the reasons you stated. They're undefeated. I am so impressed by the job that Mike Elko is doing.
Absolutely.
This is a force to be reckoned with. This Aggies team, and barring a total collapse, they've got to be locked in as one of the playoff teams already.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Agree completely.
But
And yeah, I agree completely.
on the flip side, on the other side, your number 3 is Alabama. Why do you put them there?
Well, they are the best undefeated team. That's my as simple as that. I think when you look at it top to bottom, Alabama is the best undefeated or not undefeated. They are the best team that has at least one loss, which they do. They have one loss. So keeping in the criteria of you're undefeated, in my mind, I've got to reward that. Got to have you there, especially at this point in the season. Then below those is whoever is the best team that has a loss or for Alabama has a loss. So that's where I put them there. I think they are the best team that has a loss on their schedule to this point, or
Yeah,
has a loss against them. I guess is a better way to say that.
yeah, agreed. We both have Ole Miss at number 2. The win against Washington State in Oxford was not
Ooh,
pretty at all. Is it safe to say, Darren, they were looking ahead to Georgia?
absolutely. There've been a lot of conversation about Lane Kiffin and his changes in the ways he does things, but I still think that some of that edgy Lane Kiffin still is very much in there, and so that I think that edgy part of him maybe they have a Washington State game plan. They're going to do their things. They're going to, but you know, we're going to beat these guys. So he's sitting in his office at night, even having conversations about Georgia and what they're going to what they're going to do with Georgia. And I think that kind of filters through sometimes. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, that was Washington State's national championship game.
Absolutely.
As one of the 2 last standing members of the Pac-12, they had a
Mm-hmm.
chance to go into an SEC stadium, and they would have lived off that the rest of the year.
Yeah.
We beat an
Oh,
SEC team in their home stadium. So I think they put a lot more into that game than Ole Miss, which was like, all right, we got to play Washington State, but we really are trying to get ready for Georgia. We're going to
Georgia.
Athens. We got to be ready for the Bulldogs. What impressed me though was in the past, as you've said many times on this show, Darren, Big Game Lane would have shown up and it would have been
Absolutely.
a shocking upset,
Hmm.
thrown water on this upcoming week's Ole Miss Georgia game, but not this year. Ole
No.
Miss found a way to win. It wasn't pretty. So maybe they take the next step. We'll get to picks in a little bit later. Maybe they take the next step and actually are able to beat Georgia in Athens, which would, I think, shock a lot of people in the
Absolutely.
SEC.
But I think you're spot on. It says a lot about this team that they survived it
Yeah.
because this is a game, especially when it started going. I was getting texts from people. I know it's early, but have you seen the Ole Miss score? It's like, no, are you kidding? So once the game started going that way, as you said, this is a game that an Ole Miss team of the past would have lost. Wouldn't have got blown out by anything like that, but they would have figured out a way to lose this game. And this team figured out a way to survive it and win. So I think you're right. That definitely tells you something about this team.
Yeah. 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 Definitely.